The warrior archetype and the way of the warrior, it is a brutal and unwavering desire to face with courage oblivion. In that oblivion, you're going to find a reason why you live. And all warriors find that why they live is for others.
Welcome back to Mulligan Brothers. Today's video, as always, was sponsored by Huel. I'm drinking Huel Black Edition, which has 26 vitamins and minerals, 35 grams of protein and slow release carbs to make sure that I can stay satiated and proteined up whilst I make these documentaries. If you want to find out more about these, go to the link in the description. I'll talk about them a little bit later on in the video. You speak about the warrior quite a bit, and the warrior mentality, I think, is something that has served you very well throughout your life, and especially in your darkest of moments, coming back and straight into training, Could you speak to the warrior? And it's also on the level of, firstly from your side as in the military, and what to be a warrior meant, then also, for people who are watching this who might not have that, might not be in the military, how would being a warrior serve them in their day-to-day lives anyway?
The warrior archetype, it's the way. Aside from preachers and holy men, I don't think there's a more misunderstood way of life. Warriors are not trapped with idolatry and glamour. We're not, warriors are not enthralled by hubris and fame. Glory left unchecked in the warrior experience turns to corruption. I've witnessed it in my community. I've even witnessed it in myself. Thank God I got a hold of myself. Thank God God brought me down on my knees quick so I could come back. The warrior archetype and the way of the warrior, it's warrior mindset. It is a brutal and unwavering desire to face with courage oblivion. Oblivion. In that oblivion, you're going to find a reason why you live. And all warriors find that why they live is for others. It doesn't have to be kickboxing or military or jiu-jitsu. Sometimes that everyday man or woman that does that 9-to-5 job and still does a part-time on the weekend, for those 3 kids to have some decent food and still struggle at having a decent education. When I see people also that have struggled with weight, being overweight and unhealthy, and I see them walking on the streets or in the gym, I find the courage of those people, the warrior spirit in those people. I'm enthralled with that courage. I'm enthralled with what demons they're fighting. So although, I'm a character in Call of Duty and I have a record for fighting war and I know how to fight with my hands, my body, and I still keep my skills up, those are just tools. Do not confuse the tools of a professional with the way of the warrior. Each and every one of you out there has the opportunity to be a warrior.
Something you've said there is having a true warrior is having a higher purpose above themselves.
Yes.
For somebody.
Yes.
For somebody else. One of the best pieces of advice I've heard, or I feel is, one of the best pieces of advice is, if you're struggling, if you're in a difficult moment, if you can go out and help somebody else, you'll give yourself enough purpose that it'll help yourself as well. And I think when you're talking about being a warrior, it embodies that completely.
Yes.
People who, again, you feel powerless to life and that it's beat you down.
But if you can go out there and help somebody else, I promise you it will reward you massively.
Samurai. Samurai means to serve. Samurai, the translation in Japanese is to serve. The greatest swordsman in the world, their title means service. I think that says it all.
Today's episode, as always, was powered by Huel. This stuff has been absolutely crucial to my training and the world record I just broke, the world's heaviest marathon, where I carried 220 pounds for 28 miles. Yes, I achieved it, guys. It is done. This is what I was drinking. Huel Black Edition. It has 35 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals and slow release carbs. And it's what I use in my training all the time. But don't just take my word for it. People like the hardest geezer ran across Africa drinking this stuff. It's absolutely amazing. And if you want to get exclusive offers and deals, go to the link in the description and you can find out more about their other products like their daily greens and their meals, which I eat every single lunchtime. Thank you to Huel for sponsoring the video, and let's dive back into the episode.
You know, you spoke about the power of, you know, being able to call in the jets or whatever it was while she was in the military. Was there any time where you lost that service to others in your mind while serving?
No, not in the military. And my teammates and we are riding the razor's edge of life and death, doing some gnarly shit, deep behind enemy lines, helicopter insert. We did a jump insert. How about patrolling through the Euphrates, through the river, and crawling onto an island with the reeds, with our sniper systems, and searching for enemy boats coming through, or after those Blackwater contractor brothers. You know, I had chow with those men that morning, and they had a couple of females that were with them. They had a little contingent of 5 or 8, maybe. I could tell that they were too casual, that they didn't know how dangerous this place really is. So this is my third war, it's Fallujah. And I'm doing a left seat, right seat with the Army. So we're doing a battlefield turnover. The Army has been overrun. They've given it to 1st Recon now to take over. The Army's been overrun. They've taken so many casualties, so many IEDs, so many mortars coming into the base killing. They called me back as an instructor to take a team to Fallujah to create some law and order. That was the most dangerous place in the world. We get a call that these contractors are in contact. By the time we get to that bridge, they're already burned up and hanging on the bridge. Delta comes in to do a hard hit. They're in Little Birds. All my recon brothers, we're all infantrymen first, by the way. We're all infantrymen, machine gunners, riflemen, mortarmen. We know the basics of all combat. And of course, we're high speed too. I get everybody down online. We bring our gun trucks down into defilade so only the gun is hanging up. Delta comes in on some pretty high speed, tricked out Humvees. They look cool as fuck. They're probably dressed like me at the time, looking cool as fuck. And their Little Bird gets blown right out of the sky, right above me by a heat-seeking missile. Wham! Delta doesn't know what the fuck to do. We open up and just start lighting up everybody in that Ville that's got freaking weapons and RPGs and anybody moving to us. That was my first 3 days in Fallujah. Welcome. You know, good morning, Fallujah. And I lived this way for 7 months, day and night, overt and covert missions. I don't remember ever really doing anything except looking for the enemy to kill. However, I never was angry. By the way, one of my teammates was killed, and one of my 8 of my brothers were wounded, one of them horribly. I had to clean his flesh of his body and his blood all over the bottom of the Humvee after we towed it back. By the way, the men that ambushed us, and we counter-ambushed and smoked all of them, Bravo Company put all their bodies on top of the Humvees, and we drove through the town with all the dead insurgents laying over our vehicles like deer. let everybody know this is who you're dealing with now. And we took the fight to him. I never was angry, but I knew everything was on the line, and I would never be caught. I would never be caught because I was not aggressive enough. Therefore, fear was not going to be in the equation. I will always be aggressive. That means that fear or fatigue are not in the equation. To this day, I still have sleeping problems. And I still have sleep to this very day because of that. Because when I get tired, sometimes I even get more energy, or my mind races, or naturally my heart starts beating really fast when I get really tired, or what, like this morning, the cats woke me up and I got up and I want to get a few more hours of sleep, but anytime I wake up, my heart starts beating really fast. I think it must be from the 1 or 2 times I fell asleep. Eventually I'm up for 3 days on mission. And then finally I say, all right, assistant team leader. All right, Dan Weiner. All right, McCoy, you got the radio, right? I'm going to try to sleep for an hour or 2. You got the radio, right? I've been awake for 3 days. We've been running and gunning. Everything's okay, right? If anything happens, you get me up, right? When I fall asleep, I hear a squawk of the radio, because sometimes there's incoming, sometimes, it's combat, it's war. I'd always wake up, my heart's beating. What's happening? What's happening? I still get that response even now, even if it's just the cats that jump up. So, I gotta pay for this. That's okay. At least I can. Imagine what the alternative would be, Jordan. What if I succumb? That means I would have died there, or worse, the men would have died, and then I would have taken my own life. I know I couldn't have lived with that. That would be the alternative. I think some of this PTSD is an honor to have. I believe my PTSD is an honor to have, and I treat it as such, and therefore, do not let it rule me. Understand it for what it is, and try to better equip myself so that I can live a fruitful life. I think it's equidistant. The further you go into darkness, the more expansive is your light. It's bigger than what people can explain, this real world. I believe I've been in the real world.